Hey, it's the Rebellious Gem here, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you 10 tips for learning the basics of tarot. If you tuned in last week, you know I already talked about 7 benefits of learning how to read tarot for yourself. Tarot is an absolutely beautiful practice that allows you to tap into your subconscious mind and grow and develop your intuition. However, if you are a newbie to tarot, it can definitely be overwhelming. You have the 22 major arcana cards, 56 minor arcana cards for a total of 78 cards that you're trying to learn the meaning to. Not only that, but usually people that are new to tarot are also working on developing their intuition as well at the same time. So it can definitely be overwhelming. So today, I'm giving you some tips on how to best learn the basics or the mechanics of tarot. So before we dive in, let me just go ahead and put your mind at ease. Yes, tarot is a massive undertaking. It can be a lot to learn and it can feel very overwhelming. However, it's just like any other skill, it just requires a little bit of practice. So again, this video is just going to give you 10 tips on mastering the basics or the mechanics of tarot, but this is where I'm going to invite you to go ahead and hit that like and that follow button, because next week I'm actually going to give you some additional tips on mastering the art of interpretation. Okay, so I actually had to change positions real quick. My computer screen is over here, y'all. I still get a little bit nervous on camera, so I need my notes just to make sure that I get all of my thoughts out. So jumping right in, tip number 1, learn the meanings of the suits. Most decks follow the Rider-Waite format, so we have 4 suits. We have the suit of swords, wands, cups, and pentacles. Swords have to do with the mind, thinking, ideas, communication. Cups have to do with the heart, feelings, emotions. Wands have to do with your passions, your purpose, your ideas. And of course, the pentacles have to do with money or the tangible things here in this physical world. So that was just a very quick overview of the suits, but tip number 1, definitely get familiar with the meanings of all of the suits and what all they could imply, all of the life areas that they cover. Tip number 2, learn the meanings of numbers. I'm sure you already know that numerology has a significant impact on everything in life, and that includes tarot. The suits in the minor arcana are actually numbered 1 through 10, not counting the court cards, and the major arcana cards are numbered 0 through 21. And so I'm sure you know that those numbers have a significant meaning on all of those cards. Whenever you're going through the cards 1 through 10 in a suit, that actually signifies the journey through that suit. So number 1 usually alludes to like the spark of something, the initial idea, or the beginning of something. And when you get to 10, that means like the ending or the completion of a cycle. Now 5, for example, because it's in between, usually would allude to obstacles or something that you may overcome, that you may need to overcome as you're going through that journey 1 through 10. So that's a quick snapshot, but tip number 2, learn the meanings of numbers. So moving on to tip number 3, get familiar with the meanings of colors. As you can see by now, every single element in a tarot card will have a bearing on its meaning, and that includes colors. Each suit is also associated with a particular color as well. So for example, red has to do with love, passion, purpose, action, whereas white has to do with peace, purity, and innocence. So as you can see, colors definitely have a bearing on the meaning of the cards as well. You don't have to be a color expert, but just be cognizant of that. You can always go to Google and kind of get a rough idea of what the colors mean. All right, tip number 4, get familiar with the meanings of the elements and their associated zodiac signs. Each suit is associated with a particular element. For example, the swords are associated with air, which means they are also associated with the air zodiac signs. So any of the characters in the swords, particularly the court cards, could signify a Gemini, Aquarius, or a Libra, affecting the situation in some way. So tip number 4, get familiar with the elements: air, water, earth, and air, water, earth. How in the hell am I forgetting? Air, water, earth, and fire. Tip number 5, learn the meanings of the face or the court cards. Most decks typically follow the same format, so you will have a page, a knight, a queen, and a king. However, some decks vary slightly. You will see prince or princesses or other variations, but they typically have the same meanings. They can signify a particular person in your life, different stages on the life journey, or a hierarchy in a particular skill set or knowledge level. For example, a page could signify a young child, or the beginning stages of an idea or a journey, or the beginning of a mastering of a particular skill. So getting familiar with the court cards and their meanings and how they can impact the energies or how they can allude to the people in your life is another key component of learning how to work with tarot cards. Moving on to tip number 6, learn the meaning of the scenery elements. Every single detail on a tarot card can have an impact on the meaning or the interpretation of the cards. And that includes the scenery elements. So we're talking things like mountains, clouds, water, the sun. All of those things can have different meanings. For example, mountains can have to do with difficulties or obstacles that need to be overcome, and water can have different meanings depending on if it's calm, flowing, or choppy. So part of being a good tarot reader is learning how to tell the entire story of the cards, and that's looking at the scenery elements and seeing how they can come into play. Tip number 7, learn the meanings of the different animals that you will see featured in your decks. This is also a part of getting to know the suits, because each suit is associated with a particular element, which is associated with a particular animal. For example, the suit of wands are associated with the element of fire, and wands are also associated with the salamander. Salamanders are known to be able to withstand really high levels of heat, and they are also associated with change, regeneration, and adaptation. So as with all of the other elements in tarot, you would want to get familiar with the animals that you will see in your deck, what they could mean, any characteristics associated with them, and what impact they could have on your reading. Okay, so tips 1 through 7 had everything to do with the different elements that you will see pictured on the cards. Tip number 8 is that the major arcana speaks to major life themes. These cards allude to significant life events, overarching themes, or archetypal energies, and speak to the circumstances in life that we all deal with at one point or another. So for example, these cards can speak to life lessons, challenges, changes, and the energies that may influence those major life events. You can think of the major arcana as providing a high level view or perspective of life, while also providing guidance through those significant life changes. You can think of the major arcana as providing big picture energy, whereas tip number 9, the minor arcana provides the details. So while the major arcana speaks to major life themes, the minor arcana is going to provide you with the details or the energies that are impacting those situations or life circumstances. These could be the physical, tangible things such as your thoughts, ideas, emotions, your finances, whatever it is that either got you into a situation or can help in getting you out of it. The minor arcana speaks to the practical little elements that influence you on a day-to-day basis. The minor arcana also includes the court cards. So again, these could speak to the different people in your life that impact you daily. They could also speak to someone coming into or out of your life that will have a significant impact. They also could signify a particular energy or personality trait that you yourself need to embody to get you over or past these life circumstances. Again, the minor arcana is going to provide you the supporting details of the major arcana cards that may have come out in your reading. So my last and final tip for learning the basics or the mechanics of tarot is to study the Fool's journey through the major arcana. The first card of the major arcana is one of excitement or naivete as the Fool starts out on his journey through life. His journey ends with the World card, which speaks to completion, self-mastery, or mastery of the world. All of the cards in between speak to the themes or major life lessons that we all encounter as we journey through life. When you study the Fool's journey, you will see that he faces many ups and downs on his path to self-mastery and enlightenment. Studying these cards also gives you an idea of the significant themes we all face in life, as well as the archetypal energies or overarching themes that each card represents. Whew, I know that's a lot. Are you feeling overwhelmed yet? There is definitely a lot to learn when it comes to tarot, but it is a beautiful practice that I absolutely enjoy. I love growing and developing my intuition. So if you study these 10 tips, you should definitely have a pretty solid understanding of the basics or the mechanics of tarot. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button and make sure you follow up next week, because next week is where I'm actually going to give you the juicy details. I'm going to give you some tips on mastering the art of interpreting the cards. So make sure you hit that follow button, make sure you hit that notification bell so you can be notified when I drop my next video. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for placing your eyeballs on my content. The Rebellious Gem.